Oh, hello, hello. And it is Saturday night. We're feeling festive, feeling feisty, and it is time for building the Broncos on Saturday.
Ooh.
Hope you're doing well. Carl is in tonight for Luke. Luke is celebrating the birthday of his wife, not the birth of his wife, but the birthday of his wife. So he has a day off. Luke and I will be with you guys Tuesday night, and I'm coming at you live from Iowa in my childhood bedroom. I feel like a little kid here. I'm sitting at the tiniest desk and the tiniest chair ever, trying to make do. Have my mother's makeup mirror behind me to hopefully give me some light. But Carl, it's good to see you, man. I wasn't sure what today was going to turn out with, but we're here now. We're ready to have talk ball and have some fun.
Yeah. Always good to get to talk a little football with you. And even though it's a Saturday night and kind of a different little show for us of getting to maybe hype up the game coming up and some different things going on with players for the Broncos. And, right now I know a lot of people watching a pretty important game for the Broncos going on with the Colts and Patriots. Go Patriots. That sounds terrible coming out of my mouth.
Yeah,
but it's the reality of the situation.
I'll think it. I won't say it though.
There. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan Kelly, the Colts center, first round pick out of Alabama, who is not playing tonight's game because of the passing of his unborn child. So he's sitting out. So thinking about him and his family in this game. Obviously we want the Colts to lose, but it's just a game. So thinking about him and thinking about anybody going through some tough times right now. But we're gonna have some fun tonight, as we always do. You guys can find Carl and I on Twitter. Carl is at Carl Dumler MHH, and I am at Nick Kendell MHH. You guys can also make sure you're following us on Twitter over at BTB Football Pod, as well as at Mile High Huddle. If you guys are into the gear, Carl's wearing it right now. I did not fly with gear across the country. Unfortunately, I thought about it, but the wife's like, "You're not doing that." We flew across the country with a cat, so the hats stayed behind. And I'm like, I got a Broncos Christmas hat I can wear. It's festive. We're having fun. So I'm rocking that guy. And I'll be wearing a not as cool as Carl's sweatshirt though. I will say, or sweater.
You gotta have a dinosaur with Christmas.
It's biblically correct, right? I think that's how the first one worked. I always have a dinosaur at my nativity scene. But you guys, huddleuppod.com. Check out our gear there. Carl's wearing the hat. We got other things, coffee mugs, gators, beanies, etc., etc. Christmas is close. Maybe it's a little bit late for that Christmas shopping, but it doesn't mean it's too late to treat yourself. So check that out. Also, make sure if you're over on Facebook, join us today at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle, as well as facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. I really appreciate it. I've got to give you guys a shout out. Everybody who's gone onto iTunes and give us a 5-star review lately. That's been helping us a heck of a lot. Chad's been sending them to us, and I've seen a couple that have disparaged me after saying, "Hey, pick on me," because one of them did, and I just thought it was funny because they still gave us a 5-star. So I'll take that every time, man. It's pick on me. I'm a man. I'm 40 up here being Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State. So that's keep doing that. We appreciate you guys for that. Number one thing you can do for us, though, is on YouTube, subscribe, like, and share to this show. Share it on your social media. Obviously, we have these shows every single night of the week. I'm not sure if there's going to be one on Christmas. You have to talk with the boss on that one. But every single night of the week, we're here coming at you live, having fun. And also Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday mornings as well. So a lot of good shows, a lot of good content. And well, at least I think it's good content. Hopefully you guys do too if you're joining us here tonight. So Carl, let's say hello to some folks in the chat. I know that you pulled one up there when I was about to get into the read. Anybody want to say hello too quick before we do our matters of business?
Well, of course, we got Dillon coming in saying, "Sup, Broncos country. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in and on the way out if you possibly can." Paul, the living legend, saying hello, Nick and Carl. Appreciate you joining us. We got Mike coming in here, Mr. Alabama, talking about an Alabama player right there. And let's see, we got Desert Creature saying Mile High Huddle started on time. It's a Festivus miracle. Nick and I are usually on time.
Yeah, I don't think that we ever are like, if we're late, it's like 5 minutes barely. But I mean, we started out like, "Hey, Carl, let's give these guys a treat. Let's start a minute early." And Carl's like, "You know what? Let's do that. We got to counteract the universe a little bit because Zach and Chad are always, 15, 20, 25 minutes late. So here we are. And it's a Festivus miracle. We'll take it."
Right. I'm guessing your mom was like mine that said, if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. That's how we live our lives. So yeah, we try to be here right at time for you guys. Got Ashton coming in saying, "Yo," and US Dave coming in here saying, "Nice." And Ashton again saying, "I'm in Colorado for work and actually getting to go to the game tomorrow." Congratulations, Ashton. Enjoy the game. And glad you got that nice little opportunity, little Christmas present for yourself. And of course, Mr. Ernie Mays coming in here saying, "Hello, Nick and Carl, go Broncos." And we do have, we've started a firestorm. Blake Chandler saying, wait, what did I miss? Who's hurt?
We'll get into that in just a second, but we got a little bit we got to get into first. Guys, I know that we're in the present, but cryptocurrency is the future, so don't get left in the past. Bet with mybookie.ag, and you can get in the game right now, today. To get you started with crypto, use our promo code MHH to double your first crypto deposit at mybookie.ag. The best part of it all is mybookie.ag accepts well-known cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, so you can bet and withdraw with crypto starting today.
And guys, the NFL playoffs are right around the corner. We got lots of games. Like I said, tonight's game, Colts, Patriots, two teams fighting for potentially playoff spots, Super Bowl possibilities, those kind of things. So make sure you guys are getting in there, getting your bets in. It's something you do not want to miss out. You can double your first deposit up to $1,000 by using promo code MHH. Head to MyBookie today, place your bets, and watch the sparks fly with UFC, football, basketball. There's so much you can bet on right now. Anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Yeah, and let's keep going on the chat here. We got Malcolm Brown coming in saying hello from Homer, Alaska. Good to see you, Malcolm. Hope you're doing pretty well. We got DBA saying, what's good, y'all? Looking very festive. Thank you, DBA. That means a lot. I forgot my Broncos Christmas sweater. It's here. It's in Iowa with me, but left it at the mother-in-law's house. I will be rocking that at some point. DeAndre Weatherspoon asking, who is hurt? We will be getting into that in just a second. I want to keep saying hello to the chat here before we transition to the main thing, because we don't want to get anybody left off for sure. And especially we don't want to be leaving off super chats. Muhammad Badri, $20. St. Carl and Braun in the house. Great to see you guys. Great to see you, Muhammad. Hope Malik is doing well. I'm not sure if you celebrate the holidays, but either way, it's kind of it's a season, right? A family-oriented season. And I know that your family was +1 this year. So the first holiday season for young Malik. So shout out to Malik, shout out to you, and hope you guys are both healthy and happy.
We got Cincy saying, what's up, Broncos country? Hope you all are doing great. Joseph coming in saying, what's up, Broncos fans? Hope everyone is doing great. Go Broncos. And let's see, we got Kevin Gray. Hi, go Broncos. Maybe Mr. B can give us a win for Christmas. Well, I'm sure he's looking down pretty hard at this team right now. So hoping for good times ahead, because that man brought us a lot of good times, a lot of good years. He's the only owner I've ever known. And definitely miss him. And interested, that's going to be a crazy topic this offseason for us to be talking about. But all right, should we get into our conversation?
Yeah, man, the list is way too long, unfortunately, but that's this time of year, week 15, the injuries start to pile up. It's why when you go into the regular season or even go into the off season being like, listen, we are a linebacker away from competing. No, you're not. You're not counting for injuries, because right now the Broncos they're pretty darn injured. The injury report is long. I guess I should say that the IR has been, everyone knock on wood. I don't have a wood table in front of me. Oh, here we go. Knock on wood over here. The Broncos IRs have not been horrible this season compared to some teams. They're one of the top 10 healthiest teams in football as far as the injured reserve goes. But the injury report for the Broncos heading into this Bengals game is expansive, unfortunately. But there's a couple big ones, I think, specifically that we want to get into here. The doubtful report of starting linebacker Kenny Young, acquired from the Rams this offseason. He's been pretty good for the Broncos. I don't think he's been as good as Alexander Johnson or Josie Jewell, but they've definitely needed Kenny Young. He's been good. And far and away their best defensive lineman, edge rusher, interior defensive line. I don't give a hoot. Best one. Dre'Mont Jones is also doubtful, and that one hurts. That one, both hurt, no doubt, but that one really concerns me.
Yeah, it's helped a little bit. The Bengals have one of the worst offensive lines when it comes to pass protection. Yeah. I think they given up the most sacks this season. I think I read they're top 3. I know that for sure.
Yeah,
and sacks given up, and it's not because Joe Burrow's holding on to the football. He's actually had one of the fastest releases in football this year, and so you were kind of thinking this is a game Dre'Mont Jones, he could back up that 2-sack game with another 2 or 3 sack game and really put interior pressure on Joe Burrow where he can't escape. And now he's gone. And it's just one of those.
Maybe.
Okay, maybe. Doubtful doesn't mean for sure. It's just rarely do we see a player that is listed as doubtful then go ahead and play. I can't remember the last time I saw that.
Yeah, me neither. But Fangio said it's 50-50 on Thursday. So I'm holding out hope that means Dre'Mont can go, because I'm not kidding you, Carl. Where else is the pressure coming from on this defensive line? Maybe Jonathan Cooper, but Bradley Chubb has not looked nearly the same as he did last year coming off the injury.
Right.
And Cooper's been inconsistent. I feel like most of his pressures came in that one game against that tackle who had no business playing left tackle in that game, with Tyron Smith being pulled, I think, like the practice prior, not playing that Dallas game. So Jonathan Cooper's been fine, don't get me wrong, but Dre'Mont Jones, top 10 in interior pressures this season from interior defensive linemen per snap. And if the Broncos are missing Dre'Mont Jones, I just do not know how they're going to get after the quarterback, even with the Bengals offensive line maybe not being very good. And what scares me even more is it's just not just Dre'Mont, the pass rusher, it's the run stuffing along with Kenny Young behind him. So the Broncos front seven, I mean, this is a game you need all horses, and you're missing two guys who I don't trust the depth behind them, and the guys next to them have been up and down.
Yeah, for sure. And we got Cincy coming in saying, got to look for McTelvin Agim to provide that pass rush on the interior now that Dre'Mont is doubtful. Yeah, he had a couple nice little pass rush moves in the game that he got quite a bit of action. I think Shelby Harris is the guy that I really look like. He's got to be the guy that steps up.
Yeah.
He's had one good game this year. Was that the Browns game?
He was good in the Browns game. I also think he had a couple impact plays in the Chargers game as well.
Yeah.
Some batted passes and whatnot in that Chargers game, and I think a sack as well. But yeah, he's fine. I'm not going to say that he's out here and say he's like terrible. No doubt he's not terrible. But considering the Broncos paid him for how long he's been here, and the fact that Dre'Mont has been so good next to him, and the secondary behind him has been very good, you want more from Shelby Harris. And I get it's the Vic Fangio scheme. They are not just pinning their ears back and playing one gap. They kind of play a gap and a half, technically, is the terminology there, which kind of limits how the pass rushers can get through that, to be disciplined through their pass rush, so that you can't play reckless abandon and pin your ears back through one gap. But Shelby's going to have to step up in this game, no doubt about it. And if that's pressures, if that's sacks, if that's hurries, if that's getting his hands up and disrupting a passing lane, we need it. Shelby's got it. Shelby has to step up. So again, I'm not here to say that Shelby's been terrible this year, but I was hoping to see more with the big contract he signed, and with Dre'Mont out, this is your chance, buddy. This team needs you. You want to go to the playoffs for the first time in your career? You got to step up tomorrow. Period. This team needs you.
That's for sure. And then Bradley Chubb, I've been hearing it's usually after injuries for him, it's been like 4 games of play. That 4th game is when he steps up and becomes an impact player.
Yeah.
Well, this is game 4 of him being back, and they absolutely need him to go out there and be an impact player, to be that top 5 pick that they thought they're getting, one of the top 10 rushers in football. And, rookie year, he showed tons of promise, looking like he's going to be that guy. He's got 16 plus 4 games, so 20 games to prove that he is worth a long-time contract. And this is a big one. If you can help this team make the playoffs, if you can be that star player. I mean, Von Miller, yes, he was a great player all the time, but especially that Super Bowl run, it just made it where you got to pay that guy. Like, you cannot let this guy walk at any point. And, Bradley Chubb, he's got to get himself in that same place. But we've got Andrew Baker coming in here saying, or asking the question, where do we stand against Bengals run? If we shut down Mixon, I believe we win. Hashtag MHH for life. Hashtag go Nick, Carl, and Scott.
Yeah, well, let Scott know. Scott is busy dealing with parent stuff, having kids. Man, what fools. No, I'm just kidding. That's right. Gosh. But no, thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you for always supporting us in the stars and everything like that. Where do we stand with the Bengals run if they shut down Mixon? It's going to be tough, man. It's not just because the Broncos have been bottom 10 this year in run defense, and part of that is, again, Vic Fangio's scheme. He is living in a too high world pre-snap, which means that you have less guys in the box, and you're going to live with less efficiency in the run game. But I won't lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I never do. The Detroit Lions, what they did last week against the Broncos in the game was still relatively close, and they have to completely abandon the run game. They looked like Moses out there partying the Red Sea. You have to correct me on that. Was it the Red Sea, Carl? You're the biblical historian here. Okay, good. Yeah. Whew, nailed it. Parting the sea out there, and now you're losing Dre'Mont Jones. You're going to be starting. You're going to be without Kenny Young, and gosh, his name's always escaping me. The guy they traded for from the 49ers. You guys always correct me on this. Who's just started last week? Is a good athlete. I should know this. Oh my gosh, I always blank on his name. Somebody's going to get it to us.
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll get it in the chat.
Baron Browning and the linebacker they traded for, who from the 49ers, and it did not look great last week in minimal snaps. Mike Purcell has been struggling somewhat, so I'm very scared about Joe Mixon, and it's Jonas Griffith. CC, you're a saint.
Thank you, CC.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Jonas Griffith, great athlete. Hopefully he's a guy that helps the Broncos a lot here, but I am afraid of Mixon. Mixon's probably been one of the top 5 to 10 running backs so far this season. Really liked his game coming out of Oklahoma as well. Maybe the Bengals lean on him a little bit too much to the point where they're not super efficient with using him. But they're going to lean on it. And with the Broncos, the way their run defense has played now without 2 of their top players in the front 7, I'm scared. I am scared, Carl. I'm actually pretty concerned.
Wyatt Horning coming in here with a great idea. Put Jewell in an arm sling and send him out there. He will take care of business. I think if it was up to Josie Jewell, I think he'd about do it. He's that kind of guy. He'll do about anything to help the team. And you got to love Josie Jewell. I know some people still are just like, why would you ever want to sign this guy? Because he is that lunch pail, take it to work hard, smart guy, doesn't make mistakes on the field. You're not going to have superstars at every position. You need those kind of guys that can step in there, make plays for you, lead your team. Yep. And that's exactly what Josie Jewell does. He is highly missed this year.
But is he even, he's highly missed on the field, but I absolutely loved Ed Donatell's interview this week where he singled out Josie Jewell saying, like, listen, this guy has been absolutely massive for all these young linebackers in here. He is the one sitting with the young guys on the bus. He's sitting with them after meetings. He's talking with all of them. He's essentially been an extension of the coaching staff this season. And it would have been so easy for Josie Jewell to pack it up because, this is the last year on his contract. The injury, he could have been like, you know what? I need to get myself right. I need to put myself in the best position going forward with my health and my prospects going forward, and maybe somewhat start to, detach himself from the team. But he hasn't done that. He's really leaned into the leadership and the academic side, I guess, of football for this team. And that's been huge for the development. Baron Browning, somebody next time Baron Browning gets on the podium, I hope somebody asks him about Josie Jewell's leadership because it sounds like he's really gone under, even though Baron Browning's massive and Josie's not as big as Baron, but he's gone under Josie's wing and he's been big for him. So hopefully this is a game where he can channel his inner Josie Jewell, playing good in the box and slowing down Joe Mixon because that's going to be tough. The Broncos need to be good, and it's not just obviously you want to keep away the explosive runs, but can they be efficient enough on first and second down to get third and long? Because the Broncos, you're talking about this week, this year in general, but this week, especially without Dre'Mont, the pass rush is going to be neutered. It is. But if it's third and long, the 3rd and 8+, 3rd and 7+, you can play with the coverage guys in the backfield, and that can buy the time and create you some opportunities for your pass rush. But if it's 3rd and 2 consistently, 3rd and 3, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they can get after the quarterback with these guys right now. Right. And we'll see. We're going to get to the Bengals injuries as well. Maybe that right tackle, the injuries that they have at the tackle position might be enough of a detriment for them where it's kind of like Jonathan Cooper killing Terrence Steele, I think was the left tackle for the Cowboys in that game. But the Broncos defensive line is not very good, not been very good this season. And that includes as edge rushers and interior defensive line. And that scares me the hell out of me for this game because you're going to need them.
Yep. All right, we got Travis Weber coming in here saying, good evening, Nick, Carl, and Broncos country. Just giving some love and remembering Stokely's tip pass touchdown against Cincinnati. Oh, man, that was a good memory. Thank you for that, Travis, because that when I read that as I was reading through the comments, man, it made me smile for sure. That one was like a 93-yard play or something like that. It
was amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
That was week 1, right?
I think it was. I think it was. That was the beginning of the McDaniels era. Yeah. And when they went 6-0 and everybody was going, oh my gosh, maybe we figured out this coaching thing. And then we realized, no, this guy is downright terrible.
I want to get to this too real quick. Fernando coming in saying about the Jonas Griffith comment. He's at work yelling his name. I do this at podcast too. I'll be out walking the dog and they'll be like, oh, who's this? Or they say something like, no, it's this. Come on, you idiot. So you guys can do that to me as well. I was an idiot for forgetting Jonas Griffith. Probably will not be the last time because for some reason I just cannot remember him. But hey, maybe Jonas Griffith has himself such a hell of a game this week that there's no way I can forget his name again. But Travis, I'm sure this is stars. We don't have Scott working behind the scenes today for us. So I'm just going to give it to you like it is stars. Thank you very much for your support. You are amazing for us, and we appreciate you so much. We got Colin Wood saying, I'm still afraid of Corey Dillon. Yeah, Corey Dillon was a good player. I didn't dislike him for Cincinnati, but then he went to the Patriots, and my disdain for him really grew because anybody who helped Tom Brady, game manager Tom Brady, get favor over Peyton Manning, who I was always a Peyton guy, always was, and then it was just hook, line, and sinker when he came to Denver after that. But Corey Dillon, man, he scares me too. But Joe Mixon, talking about the weapons, we had a one in here from somebody discussing. Here it is. Fallen Sloth. Chase for Surtain is going to be incredibly fun. Burrow would be wise to look at Higgins, Boyd, and Uzoma. I think that's how you Uzama, because I don't even think Chase beats Surtain reliably. I'm going to say something maybe a little bit hot takey here. I've watched 4 Bengals games, the 4 most recent Bengals games. I thought T. Higgins looked like the hotter wide receiver right now compared to Chase Young. I think that Chase Young, he's been a little bit erratic. Yes. Yep. T. Higgins has been really good. He's impressed the heck out of me. His body control for how tall he is and the way he can change direction for how tall he is. I mean, you guys know physics. The taller your center of gravity, the harder it is to change direction. Physics for you there today. Higgins has been really good. And he's actually the guy who's good at the catch point. Chase Young has been a little bit erratic there. So let's say Surtain does slow down Chase. I'm still concerned about Higgins. But the Broncos do have a guy named Frank Darby who has been having a hell of a season. Darby's been really, really good this season. We need to give him his flowers because he's been that good.
And I kind of wonder, I would say Darby would be a better matchup against Chase and Surtain against Higgins. Because of that size with Higgins, Surtain, I just feel like that would fit well for the Broncos. Now, they seem to want to just leave them on their own side and say, we don't care what kind of wide receiver you throw at us. We think they can cover all of them, which is fine. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But, I just feel like maybe that would be the better matchup of the two.
And I think that's a symptom of how much zone the Broncos utilize as well. Because there's communication is key. So if you're playing on one side of the field, you're going to be closer to some guys more often. You have an idea of their tendencies. And also you have a better understanding of your position on the field if you consistently played one side of the field versus man coverage where your back's going to be to the ball more often. You're just kind of following a dude. So I know that people really want these matchup corners that follow somebody the whole game. And I do like some movement. I know that like the Rams using Jalen Ramsey as a big slot sometimes to help press and beat that kind of slot fade look. Beautiful. Love it. Do that so with Surtain once you feel a little bit better with your cornerback health and stuff, or you feel more comfortable with him not just being a rookie. But I have no issue with using both these cornerbacks on one side of the field. And I think that's not just because of the defense, but also how much faith I have in both Darby and Surtain. Yep. They've been great. They've been great.
Right. And I would say the other big thing is it keeps the team guessing. Like if you don't have a cornerback following a receiver, you can't know, is this zone, is this man, because they're staying put. Mm-hmm. And really a lot of Fangio's scheme is zone to man. So they'll start out with a zone look, switch to man after the snap, which is what confuses a lot of quarterbacks, which is why so many quarterbacks say Fangio's scheme is one of the toughest that they have to face all year. And,
the matchup zone, right?
Yeah.
Matchup zone. Yep.
And so I think this is the one thing. I know a lot of people are like, man, fire Fangio after this season, no matter what happens. I'm like, I think you're going to miss his defense. It's not just the players. I think the scheme definitely plays a big part in, especially this turnaround over the last about 5 weeks, what you've seen with this defense.
I totally get people wanting to move on from Fangio because of the prickly personality, the stubbornness, the game management, all that stuff. It's not always the most endearing to the players, apparently, based on reports coming out of there, not connecting the best of the players. But you're going to be hard-pressed to find a defensive mind out there right now who is getting the consistent results against Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert like we have seen. And those two guys, I'm sorry, guys. If there was a complete NFL redraft right now today, I think Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert are the first two guys off the board, which is, I mean, terrible. That should just make you cry. I feel my eyes are watering up just saying that. Maybe Kyler Murray's up there too, but that's unfortunate. But Vic Fangio with the too high, at least pre-snap going on with the versatility he can have there, he confuses those guys. He slows them down. And other people are copying Vic Fangio against these guys, and it's working. But Vic Fangio consistently has had a counter schematically. So I want to see how these final 4 games go before I'm in or out. And I also there'll be some operating stuff behind closed doors with back channels where it's like, listen, we like Vic, but if Dan Quinn comes here, Russell Wilson says he'll come here if we have Dan Quinn. Okay. We can't say that to anybody, but these agents are talking. These players are talking through agents. And so that could change things. That changes the formula, of course. But I really appreciate the defense the way it's playing right now, especially because in the front 7, they are lacking horses right now. They just are. Michael Ronquillo, good evening, Nick and Carl on the MHI_pod. I love that. That's great. We are BTB football pod today because Luke is gone, but that's okay. We appreciate the MHI pod. We're the Mile High Broncos, building the Broncos insiders. Well, whatever. Good evening, Broncos country, and go Broncos. And Michael's on his way out of here. So Thank you so much, Michael. Happy holidays to you and your family. Mark Lindemote's coming in here too. Howdy, Broncos people. Awesome to see. I saw Greg Smith is in the house too. Aloha, Greg. Think your comments are up there a bit, but that's okay. Brian D saying Vic is a great DC, but doesn't manage the game well as a head coach. Only way it would work next year is if he is a strong offensive coordinator. I'll one up you, Brian. Thank you for your comment. Also, if you have a strong quarterback, that's what the game's about. You're talking about like Mark Rule. He's been very connected to some of these college jobs, and it's because the Carolina Panthers have no prospects at quarterback right now. And if you don't have a quarterback in the NFL, I don't give a flying hoot who you are, unless you're the best all time in Bill Belichick. You're probably not going to be very good.
Right. Yeah. I asked somebody this question actually earlier this week. I said, who are the top 3 coaches minus take away the quarterback position, which I know is really hard to do. I mean, it's hard to separate that. But then who are the 3 top coaches? And it's hard to separate them because, again, they always have a great quarterback. Mm-hmm. So are they winning because of the quarterback or are they winning because of the coach? I mean, it's probably a little bit of a combination of the two, but we've seen a lot of bad coaches get great quarterbacks and do great things.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to separate those two positions. And Vic Fangio, I mean, imagine what this defense could be doing if they're playing with a lead almost every game.
Yeah.
Imagine that pass rush and what they could do in this secondary and how many turnovers they would have. That's part of why the Chiefs, I don't think they're one of the top 5 defenses in football, but they've been playing like a top 5 defense in football because they play with a lead most games. That helps a lot.
Yeah. I mean, as much as we chastised Vance Joseph saying like, why isn't pass rush there? Well, we haven't played with the lead much this season. It really is true because it changes your opportunities, the looks you're going to get, and how aggressive a team is going to be with their play calls, right? If you're playing with the lead or the game's close, you're not going to be operating with zero protection, right? With no running back there or no tight ends chipping. You're not going to be executing many 7-step drops because those are plays while they're high variance plays, right? You can, the very good things, deep down the field passes, what you need to come back come from those most of the time. But you have a much bigger chance of sacks, strip sacks, things going wrong, interceptions with those kind of plays. But when you're behind, you kind of have to pivot that way and start to play that direction. So Broncos, man, I hope they keep this game close early. This season, the trend is still continuing. The first team to 10 points has won every game the Broncos have played in this season. We'll see if that continues. Hopefully they can start off fast and use that run game. I'm really curious to see how this run game looks too. We'll have to get in that here in a second, Carl. But it'll be fun. The Bengals run defense versus the Broncos run offense is probably whoever wins that one. What is it? A unmovable object versus an unstoppable force. I think that's kind of what you're having here. Maybe not. They're not that elite on both sides, but could be really a fun matchup there and could be the one that decides the game. We got CC coming back in here. CC, I really appreciate you, man. You always got a fountain of knowledge and keeping us on our toes and always offer really good insight. CC says, I would be elevating Avery Williamson. Maybe he does not have any more juice, but just having the veteran option to have insurance for Griffith's struggles is not a bad thing whatsoever. You know what? I know he's a player and he's a person, and with everything going on in social media in the world today, you got to really understand that these people are actual people, humans, souls, feelings. But Curtis Robinson, God bless you. I'm really glad that you're not on the Broncos anymore because I cannot watch number 42 on the defense anymore get blocked 20 yards down the field and run game. I can't. I can't. So yes, Williamson, sure. I'm hoping Griffith steps up and plays well. But if it's not Curtis Robinson out there, I think I'm not going to lose my damn mind.
The other player, Micah Kaiser. Mm-hmm. He was terrible in coverage for the Rams, but he was pretty darn good against the run.
Yeah, he was playing against Michael Brockers, who's like one of the best run stuffing defensive linemen in football, and had Aaron Donald in front of him. So it's like he was good. They didn't ask him to do very much, but I do think he's competent, at least to that extent. So he might be one as well. I wouldn't mind either of these guys. Big question for me is with Williamson and Kaiser, what are they bringing special teams wise? Because if you're not one of the top 2 starting linebackers, you damn well are playing special teams. And if Williamson / Kaiser are not playing special teams, then what are you bringing? Because I'm not bringing up a linebacker just for depth on defense. If you're a backup, the numbers don't work out.
I'm with you there. I'm with you.
Yep.
But just trying to think of how we can stop this run, not have a complete liability like we did see when a couple of these guys went down with injury, especially against like the Browns. That was one of the worst run defense games I've seen the Broncos play in a long time. And they've been bad all season.
The run defense has been pretty bad all
They
season,
have.
and again, some of that is historically. You see that with Fangio's, at least recent history. You've seen that with Fangio's defense, where he's willing to lean back a little bit in the box number to take away the explosive pass plays. And amen, I'm here for it. But that can be an issue if you are playing from behind. It's awesome if you're playing with a lead. We've seen it. If you're playing with a lead, that's good luck catching up. But from playing from behind, it can get a little dicey. Blake Chandler coming in here. Thank you so much over on Facebook. If the options do become available, would you prefer Rodgers or Wilson? We're going to get this all offseason, I think, but I wanted to give Blake a shout out here over on Facebook. So what do you think, Carl? Where are you leaning?
I'm with Wilson. Just a little bit younger. I don't worry about him retiring in the next couple of years like I do Rodgers. I think we talked about this on Tuesday, actually, a little bit.
Yeah.
And Rodgers, I mean, I think there's a little bit more of a media crazy storm that kind of comes with him. I mean, there's nothing against him for that. I mean, he's still a great player. He's smart, all those kind of things. And I don't worry about the play that he'd bring on the field. But I just think things are a little bit calmer with Russell Wilson on some of that. And it doesn't really factor in who I'd really take too much more. But like I said, I think just Russell Wilson, I think he's got a little bit more left. And I think he could fit well, even with this staff that we have right now. I think he could actually function well with the Shermer offense.
Yeah. This is such a tough and easy question at the same time for me. And I think I gave the same answer on Tuesday as I'll give now. Whichever one can sign the dotted line first. Thank you, Jesus. Come on down. I do not care one blip if it's Rodgers or Wilson. It's like if you're in a position or at a job or work, whatever, and you have a position open and you interview multiple people and it's like, listen, they're all pretty qualified, but we need to fill this position ASAP. We need to have some stability here and have an idea of where we're going. So whichever one says yes first, God, hallelujah, jump in, let's go. So that's how I feel about Rodgers and Wilson. I would take either of them. Rodgers is a top 3 quarterback. Wilson's a top 10 quarterback. Wilson's younger. Rodgers is older. What is the cost going to be for both of them? Do both of them want to come to Denver? All factors that we're going to, I guess, see play out, but I would be over the moon with either. So whichever one is more likely to come here and can get here the soonest, sign me up. I'm in.
Yeah.
I do not care.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm going to be jumping for joy. My wife is probably going to be scared the second that announcement comes of me screaming through the house, and my kids and I would start jumping for joy, not knowing why they're jumping for joy. And, but it would be a great day if that possibly happens for the Broncos. You know, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this again, we're just going to be looking for a quarterback again in 5 or 6 years. Well, we've been looking for a quarterback for 5 or 6 years right now. Yeah. At least have a all-star quarterback that gives you some hope during that search. You can still go find a young player and see if they can develop into something. You don't stop looking for a quarterback just because you got Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. Yep. If nothing else, they're a great trade piece. You can get some pretty decent picks if they turn into anything.
Yeah.
And
I'm in a little positivity mindset for you because you gave me a hard time about that. Vic Fangio said it was 50-50 for Dre'Mont. He's not totally out yet, even though he's doubtful, and whoever plays when they're doubtful. But no. We have to be looking for a quarterback again in 5 years. We don't have to look for a quarterback for 5 years. I mean, come on, let's change the perspective here. That would be amazing. I would give up the Peyton Manning 4 years because we had to look for somebody after that. Hell no. 4 years is a long time, and there's no guarantees in the NFL. So if you get a chance to get one of those quarterbacks in here, you say, how much does it cost and how soon can I get you here? Because let's go. We're going to go compete for the whole thing. Yep. We got Travis coming in here saying, wish you all in Broncos country a Merry Christmas. And I know Hanukkah's come and gone as well, but I want to give our people who celebrate that as well a happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, anything that you celebrate. If you're not denominational, we appreciate you. It's a beautiful time. Hopefully you guys are being safe and enjoying time with family as well. So thank you very much, Travis. We appreciate you. And go Utes, I think. Oh, man, I don't know. Should I cheer for the Big Ten or should I cheer for Utah? Because it's better for the Big Ten, which means it's better for Iowa, but we hate Ohio State at the same time. I don't know. Yeah, hopefully it's a good game.
I guess part of me now with the Urban Meyer stuff, I know he's not there anymore, but I still associate with him with Ohio State. And so it's hard for me to want to go cheer for them. I mean, I still want their quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but
CJ.
Yeah. But beyond that, I like that guy. But we got Billy Holman coming in with a $5 super chat. Really appreciate that, Billy. And saying, what's up, Broncos country? And what's up right back to you, Billy. And hopefully tomorrow's a nice game for the Broncos, get themselves really into this playoff race. Let me ask you this question. Of the 4 remaining games, which one is the most important when it comes to playoffs?
The Chargers, because you are most likely competing with them for one of those final 3 spots. And if you beat them, then you have the head-to-head for sure, outright. So I would say it's the Chargers game. But really, I mean, gosh, maybe to be cliche, the most important game is the one right in front of you, right? Because you pretty much have to win this Bengals game to be in the conversation. If you lose this, your playoff odds, I think, go to 5%. Maybe that's higher after the Chargers lost this last week, but I think it would definitely be below 10% still. So maybe it's that simple. And I know that's a cliche answer, but like the game in front of you is the most important one. You got to win that one to look beyond that.
Right. No, you're right. I would say, I mean, if we're looking at like percentage wise, how much it helps or hurts the playoff chances, you're right. Probably the Chargers game is the biggest one. Getting that second place in the division because they'd have the tiebreakers over them would be huge. Then comes the Bengals because, again, they're a team that has tiebreakers over the Broncos right now. Getting that tiebreaker, if at the end of the season you're tied with them. So I'd say that'd be game 1, game 2.
Yep.
But we got Joseph coming in here saying Denver needs to find a quarterback and allow him to develop with his team, putting new quarterbacks in every year. We're never going to find a starting quarterback, and that goes with the coaching also.
I mean, this is a double-edged sword, right? Because like if let's say the Cardinals did this the year after they drafted Josh Rosen, and it's like, oh, it wasn't fair to Josh Rosen that one year. You know, we were so bad and it wasn't fair to him. He needs more time. We're just going to take Nick Bosa, who would be great, and stick with Josh Rosen and, bypass Kyler Murray. Where would they be right now? Probably still picking at the top of the draft, looking at being one of those teams that honestly is in pretty big trouble without a quarterback. So I think that ideally you do want a young quarterback, but more important than that, you want to have a franchise quarterback, one that gives you a shot. And I don't care if it's, 1 if by land or 2 if by sea. You get that franchise quarterback in the building. And especially with how this team is right now, this isn't a team that is 3 years away roster-wise outside the quarterback. They're not 5 years away. They doesn't need to be completely rebuilt. This team is a plug-and-play quarterback away, top 12 quarterback away from legitimately contending for the Super Bowl. And I mean that. That's how good they are around the quarterback position right now. And they're young and they're ascending. And they got a lot of cap space this season. So and they have a lot of young contracts as well. They lose some guys, but like they have guys waiting in the wings to take their spots as well. So ideally, yes. If we could somehow luck our way into a Patrick Mahomes or a Justin Herbert for the next 15 years, God, man, I'm not making any deals with the devil, but like, I'm listening. I'm picking up the phone. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Carl. This teasing on that one. But, you also don't want to wait too long on the wrong guy because nothing kills you worse than waiting too long on the wrong guy.
Right. There's got to be some balance there. You got to give a guy enough time, but really most guys are coming into the NFL more prepared, especially at the quarterback position than ever before. Because they've got quarterback camps. They've got little league football that they've been doing since they were 5-6 years old. They've got all these different things that they come in with, maybe 5,000 more throws than guys 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so if you sit there and wait 3 years and hope this guy turns into something, even though he hasn't shown anything for 3 years, you've just wasted 3 years. I think you can figure it out pretty quick. Is this guy going to be something that we can lean into and hope can turn into something? But we got David coming in here. Hey, David, saying Bengals could very well win in spite of Dre'Mont Jones' absence tomorrow, especially if it's more of a mixing day for them on offense.
Yeah, they could. Thank you so much, David. Hope you're doing well. Happy holidays to you. And out there in Chicagoland, I believe. So thank you for joining us today. It's always good to talk with you. They could. And I don't think Dre'Mont's the biggest issue with Dre'Mont is you're going to lose your best pass rusher, right? Yep. Like that's the biggest issue. Kenny Young, I'm more concerned about with the run defense, mainly because Jonas Griffin is such an unknown, and I don't trust the defensive line to stop them. But maybe the Broncos decide to really lean into Steven and Harris and Purcell in those base downs to stop Mixon and say, you know what, Joe Burrow, we got the coverage guys. I know you got weapons, but we're going to trust our coverage guys in space. That being said, what coverage guys for the Broncos are showing up? They got a lot of guys on the injury report, unfortunately, in the secondary. But let's just go through the injury list right now. Bobby Massey, hip injury, did not participate on Wednesday. He's been limited. He's questionable. Kareem Jackson, back injury, limited, questionable. Caden Stearns, shoulder and neck, limited, questionable. Melvin Gordon, hip and thumb still, questionable. Shelby Harris, questionable. Javonte Williams, questionable. So there's some injuries going around here. We do have full participants that were listed here: Mike Purcell, Tim Patrick, Nate Harrison, Andrew Beck, Bradley Chubb, and Stephen Weatherly. But yeah, it's this Broncos team, while they don't have crazy amount of injuries of people on IR like the Titans and the Ravens and some other teams right now, this is a team that's pretty banged up right now. And that's unfortunate because you're coming off that essentially, I don't call it a bye week, but like a bye week junior coming off the Lions. And to be this injured coming off that Lions game is not what you want to see.
Right. Well, and it's tough because especially like Dre'Mont's injury happened towards the end of the game, when you're up that much. But I know you have limited players that you can have sitting on the bench. That's the problem with the NFL. Like college, you've got 100 players on that sideline. If you're blowing a team out 56-0, you have an entire backup team that can come in and take over. So unfortunately, some starters still have to remain out there no matter what. But, I do like the depth that the Broncos do have on the defensive line. They don't have anybody that's Dre'Mont Jones level, but, Deshaun Williams has been having a great year for the Broncos. Yeah. I'm very impressed by him.
He's a weird player, though, because he's playing nose tackle, one technique, but he's tiny. Yeah. So he'll probably always be rotational in that sense, which does limit him. But I really like him out there in sub packages. So sorry to cut you off, but he's such a weird player, right? He's just so small for a defensive tackle.
But he makes plays for you, and does his job well. So I think they can still do all right. It's just I think there's going to be you got to have a couple other players that do step up. Somebody that's going to have a really big game. You can't lean into Dre'Mont Jones. It's kind of like when Von Miller left. You got to have some other guys to step up into his spot. And all right, we got Blake Chandler coming in saying, honestly, first time tuning in with you guys, just as good as Zach and company, but I got to go. Appreciate you guys doing this. Wish I could stick around for the rest. Hey, Blake, we appreciate the time that you gave us and just appreciate you tuning in to us, giving us a chance. And that's a big compliment saying that, that we are up there with Zach and Chad and them and stuff. And we do appreciate that. We love doing this, and we love doing it because you guys bring so much energy and fun to this. But all right, got Mark Lindenwood coming in saying, Nick, did you just say a bye week junior?
Yes, I did. I mean, with the Lions dealing with all the injuries they have, not being a very good team, and also the sickness going around there. Yes, I did say bye week junior. So might as well have fun with it. And that's about as easy of a matchup as you're ever going to get in the professional football league, in the NFL. And there's a reason that Broncos country is skeptical, right? Because these games, every single time the Broncos have shown up this week, the time when fans are just starting to get ready to believe this team has let them down. So I am trepidatious to really, obviously I support this team. I'm excited about it. I'm happy to just be here where we are right now because we haven't been here for a while. But I totally understand the fans that are a little bit skeptical about throwing their whole support behind this team because so far this season, every time this has come up, they have been let down. And I've been let down too. So hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah. And Travis, you're right. He did coach Utah. I forgot about that back when Alex Smith was there and believe they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. I completely forgot about that. I like Alex Smith. So that's a little bit of why I can cheer for Utah. I appreciate what he brought to the game. And I think he was one of the more underrated quarterbacks. I know he wasn't like Super Bowl quarterback, but I think he got a little bit of a bad break there. 49ers changing coaches, offensive coordinators like crazy left and right on him. And he went to a bad team. I mean, they had the first overall pick. Anytime you go to a team with the first overall pick, I'm sorry, it's going to take a little bit of time before you get a chance to actually have a team good enough to compete around you.
Yeah, the Bengals are dealing with some injuries too, though. I think that's something we need to talk about for them because there's some matchups here that might be for the taking for the Broncos with the injuries here for the Bengals. They got some players questionable for this game. I think that Marcus Bailey, Vernon Hargraves, Trey Hill, and Isaiah Prince are out. And I also know that Chidobe Awuzie is going to be out. He's a former Colorado Buffalo. I was actually somebody that I was interested in the Broncos maybe signing this offseason before they got Darby in here. So Awuzie is going to be out as well. We'll see if the Broncos drop back pass game can take advantage of a cornerback being out. If you're skeptical like me, then I wouldn't blame you. Some other guys out there on the injury report are going to be out. Logan Wilson and Riley Reif. So you really hope that Bradley Chubb can have a game, right? Like this has to be the Bradley Chubb game. If it's not, then you might be going softly and quietly into that good night.
Yep. At that point, you're going pass rush has to be at one of the quarterback pass rush, edge rusher, I should say. I mean, that's one. That's number two when it comes to the draft or free agency or whatever you're looking for the Broncos. And I really hope Bradley Chubb can prove over these next few games that he is a true top dog pass rusher for this team. I have my doubts that that'll happen, but hey, this is the time for wishful thinking. And talking about wishful thinking, we got Lawrence Rivera coming in saying my son's ready for a win. Plus, he got a Judy jersey waiting for him under the tree. He's going to have more. Oh yeah, more than me by the age of 2. And hey, that's what I gave my son, was a Jerry Judy jersey. Unfortunately, the other one got a Von Miller jersey, and then he was traded like 2 weeks later.
You know what? That Von Miller jersey is never going to be out of style.
That guy's a legend. I've got 2 of them, so
yeah, that'll never be out of style. I would not be upset if somebody gave me a Von Miller jersey right now. I'd probably take the Patrick Surtain jersey first, right? But, I would not be upset at all. So thank you very much, Lawrence. Hope you're well. Hope your family's doing well. Happy holidays to you. Yes, so these injuries, we got CC coming in here saying Eli Apple is starting for Cincy. I know he's been okay, but come on, it's Eli Apple. You should be able to take advantage of that in the pass game. I do think that. Do you think? Okay, we don't have very much time left. We're gonna get out of here pretty soon because Carl and I got things to do. Chad and Scott abandoned us on the holidays. Like, we wouldn't do that to you guys, but we're gonna be getting out of here pretty soon. But it's keys to the game. Do you think that the Bengals are going to counteract the Broncos run game by allocating more resources to the box to stop that? Or are they just going to lean on their proficiency in stopping the run, what they've done this season? I know that they kind of were maybe a little exposed last week with Logan Wilson out. But again, that's the 49ers, who nobody runs the football like the 49ers do, the way that the 49ers do. Then you can pick on them with George Kittle as well. But do you think the Bengals are going to lean even harder into stopping the run and make Teddy beat them?
I think they will. Teddy has been pretty erratic the last few weeks. I mean, it's been very up and down with him. And
it's been tough to watch sometimes.
It has. And so, I mean, if I'm the Bengals, I'm saying, yeah, I'm selling out. And I'm going to say, Teddy, you really do have to beat us. You have to prove to us that you can actually throw over the top or hit some of these throws in space and win those matchups. I that's what I would do. And if I got beat that way, I'd say, hey, I got beat. That's fine. No big deal. But right now, that's just the way I would lean, because I do not want to get beat by the strength of the Broncos.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It will be interesting, because I think the Broncos, they're not to the point in their pass game right now, and that is both on Teddy Bridgewater as well as, I would say 85% Teddy Bridgewater, maybe 80% Teddy Bridgewater, 10% Pat Shurmur, and then 10% pass protection. But I don't think they're at the point right now where they can just be like, you know what, scrap the run game. We can be efficient enough passing if they're going to take away the run game. I think they still have to be defiant and maybe even stubborn with the run game in this game. So they need to be effective. Luckily, the Broncos have been running the ball efficiently, even against stacked boxes. We'll see if that continues against the Bengals. And it's a guy I want to shout out here for the Bengals. DJ Reader has been incredible for them this season. He spurned the Broncos. It sounded like the Broncos were going to pay him. All the talk was like, oh yeah, Broncos offering him a massive deal. They're going to bring him in here to be a kind of the nose tackle /3 technique /5 technique. I mean, he can do all that spot. I think 5th round pick from Clemson, drafted by Houston a few years ago. And he picked the Bengals because he said, I'm not picking Drew Lock over Joe Burrow. Are you freaking kidding me? Essentially is what he said. He really pooped on Drew Lock when he was asked about it. But yeah, it is what it is. Joe Burrow's good. Yeah, we'll see. The other question I have for you is, are the Broncos going to be able to take away or take advantage of the Bengals offense? And what I mean by that is, while the Bengals put up points, they are not efficient at all. The Broncos this year, they've been efficient on offense. They're not explosive per se, but they don't have a lot of possessions. They move the ball efficiently. They don't turn the ball over, blah, blah, blah. You guys heard me 100 times right now saying the efficiency stuff. Hey, Pat Shurmur talked about efficiency this week in his press conference.
Whoa.
See, this is why I am just Pat Shurmur, and I just have a green screen on. Technology is great these days. But I'm curious to see if the Broncos can take advantage of, God, where was I going? Oh, the interceptions. Joe Burrow, not efficient offense. Here's some stats on this season. Bengals offense this year, 21st in turnovers per drive. They're 25th in interceptions per drive. They're 30th in plays per drive. If the Broncos can come out quick and the Bengals, sputter early, the Broncos can score some points, I really feel pretty good about this game, honestly. The first quarter is going to be huge. But Bengals put the ball in harm's way. There cannot be any plays like that. It's another AFC West opponent. I'm rambling now. I'm sorry, Carl. But the Alexander Johnson against the Steelers game where the ball fell through his hands 2 times. If you have that happen in this game, you lose. Yep. The Bengals will put the ball in harm's way, but you have to come away with it when they do.
For sure. And I think Scott has put it best. We've talked about this quite a bit of the teams the Broncos struggle against are the ones that can win the line of scrimmage against them. And while I think they can win the line of scrimmage on the Bengals can win the line of scrimmage on the defense, I think Broncos will win on their side with the defense. And so I think I really do, especially since they've got some backups in there for the offensive line. And like I said, I have a feeling Bradley Chubb's going to have a good game.
God, I hope so.
I know they absolutely need him too, for sure. But I just feel like there's going to be enough plays that they're going to make, and they're going to make Joe Burrow a little bit uncomfortable. And like I said, I think they're going to have a couple opportunities for some big turnovers that are going to change this game. Now, if the Broncos take advantage of those, they win. If they don't, they lose. I think this is going to be a really close one. And unfortunately, Broncos, it seems like their wins have been blowouts and their losses have been a lot of blowouts too. They don't have a whole lot of these real quick one-score games that you're trying to figure out, oh, this 1 or 2 plays could really change the whole dynamic of the game. They don't have a lot of those. Yeah. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they do playing a close game.
Yeah. And Lawrence saying, I got my Vaughn when it was a rookie. It's even a Reebok. Haha. Who remembers them? I typically need to see a guy be really special before I buy the jersey because I don't want to look foolish. I did have a Tebow jersey, and that was a lesson learned. God bless that.
I didn't even get a Tebow jersey.
Yeah, man. It was a fun time. It was fun to go to college parties in the Tebow jersey and implement the Tebow in some drinking games. Anyway, that's right. A different Nick. That's a different life. But the one that I did end up getting that Von Miller jersey, it was the lead up to Super Bowl 50. And I'm like, listen, I want a white Von Miller jersey. Broncos, Von Miller wins MVP in that white Von Miller jersey. So I think maybe there's a little bit of juju in there for that one. But guys, I think we're going to get on out of here. Carl and I got stuff to do. It's the holiday season, and we appreciate the heck out of you. I know it's a little bit early, but we started a little early too. So, don't fault us. Thank you so much for joining us today, though. Happy holidays. You guys can follow Carl on Twitter. Carl is at Carl Dumler MHH, and I am at Nick Kendell MHH. Also, make sure you're following us at BGB Football Pod and at Mile High Huddle. If you guys are over on Facebook and you haven't yet joined our community, please do. Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle, as well as Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. If you guys haven't done so yet and you have an iTunes account, please head over to the Huddle Up Podcast, scroll down and leave us a 5-star review and a comment. That helps us a bunch. I know that there's a lot of good Broncos content and content creators out there, but we appreciate if you guys make this your home, or even if you listen to multiple of them, head over there, leave other shows a 5-star rating, but make sure you swing by, leave us a 5-star rating and a comment as well. It's the giving season, so we'd appreciate if you did that for us. Number one thing you can do for us outside of obviously the Super Chats, Superstars, subscribing and liking and sharing on YouTube. I do want to give you guys a shout out as well. We just got Scott's YouTube page to 1,000 listeners, 1,000 subscribers, and you guys answered that. So you're amazing. We love you so much. I'm wishing everyone a very okay Festivus from the Desert Creature. Carl, what's the rest of your night looking like?
I just got to get a couple more things done for church tomorrow, and then a little more decorating of the house. My daughter keeps wanting me to send a picture of our house decorated, and yeah, I've not done well with that. So I guess it's that point of the year. Maybe I can have it decorated for like 5 days for him, but no, I better get that done. I've been slacking off on it. What about you?
Well, I'm at my parents' house. And I can hear them. They just got home, and I think my sister is home, who I have not seen since July 2020. So I am going to go see her and maybe go watch the football game as well, although it sounds like the Colts are beating the bleep out of the Patriots right now. A lot of game to go, though. Don't count out the Patriots until it's over. However, hey, maybe we'll actually get to see Mac Jones have to operate in a drop-back pass game. Who would have thought, man? I thought we were going to go his whole career with him only having to throw 3 passes a game. So God, we'll see. I mean, he's been fine, but like they're not asking him to do anything right now, so we'll see. But guys, you have a great one. Colin has some grievances to air. We'll say that for the end of the season. Let's see how tomorrow goes before there's any grievances to be aired. Christmas Vacation movie. Oh man, that would be a great one. Have fun, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, stay safe. Choose kindness. Choose compassion. Hopefully, the Broncos win tomorrow. Go Broncos.